Graham Beckett stood ankle-deep in the drained pool. I remember thinking, oh, this wasn't just a neighbor fight anymore. Her voice cracked through the air, sharp, frantic, loud. She pointed, shouted, stepped closer. He didn't flinch, just stared at the concrete, then pointed to it. No words, no need. Her hand trembled, not from fear, from fury. She didn't realize she'd already lost control. Behind her, the officer's pen hit the ground. No one moved. A faded sign on the fence read, "Private property." He saw it. So did she. But only one of them understood what came next. Graham didn't move, didn't blink. But somewhere, behind that stillness, a memory moved. He hadn't bought this place to impress anyone, didn't flip it, didn't rent it. He kept it because someone had to. 15 years ago, his father died right there. Not in the house, not in bed, in this pool, slipped on the west edge, hit his head on the green tile, still holding the old zoning plans he'd fought to keep valid, still wearing his boots. The water hadn't been drained then. It had swallowed the paper, curled it, blurred the ink. But Graham still remembered the outline. Lot numbers, property lines, that one signature at the bottom, his father's name, in blue ink. Since then, he never argued, not once. He let people talk. He let them raise their voices, file their notices, circle their clipboards like they were circling prey. And then he'd wait. Wait for the water to pull back. Wait for what remained. Today, it was the hook that caught his eye. The rusted one on the far wall. Still hanging there, useless to most. They'd once screwed a wooden nameplate into it. Beckett Residence. His father carved it by hand. It rotted years ago. But the hook stayed. Yesterday, Graham cleaned it. No one saw, no one asked, but he knew what was coming. He always did. A breeze passed through the backyard. The fence creaked. The officer wrote nothing. The sun slipped over the roofline, landing right on the chipped green tile where the fall had happened. He saw it. That one broken edge, still there, still sharp. Some things didn't heal. Some things weren't meant to. Graham didn't need to protect this property for profit. He didn't even call it that. This was where his father stopped breathing, fighting for a line no one else believed in. So now when someone tried to step over it again, Graham didn't shout, didn't plead, didn't run for help. He just stood there and pointed. Monday morning, the wind hadn't even settled. A single sheet of glossy paper was pinned to the fence. Full color, laminated, bold red text. Community event, Pool, Zone D, Saturday, 6 p.m. Zone D. No one had called it that in years, not since the accident, not since the name was changed, out of respect. Graham stared at the sign, took his time, then peeled it off, clean, slow, deliberate. The plastic crackled in his hand. He folded it, twice, slipped it into his back pocket. Behind him, a voice landed like a tap on glass. "Hey there, just a heads up. The HOA's planning something nice for the neighbors." He didn't turn around. The voice got closer, brighter, like it belonged to someone always smiling too hard. Big gathering, music, snacks, even a raffle. Should be a good time, right? Still no reaction. Then came the click. Clipboard. Pen. He heard the scribble before he saw the shadow. "We figured your place is just sitting here. Would be such a waste not to include it." He looked at the pool, at the hook, at the chipped tile. Still empty. Still his. She stepped beside him now. Didn't ask, didn't wait. Just pointed. "Honestly, it's better this way. Makes the neighborhood look more unified." Unified. That word again. Always used right before someone tries to erase a line. He glanced at the corner of the sign still fluttering on the second fence post. There were more. At least 5. He counted the shadows moving beyond the hedge. Flyers were up. Neighbors were out. The show had started without him. Across the yard, someone jogged by. Young guy, earbuds in, hoodie up. He slowed, saw the sign, saw Graham, paused, then nodded. Small, awkward, kept moving. Graham said nothing, just looked at the lamination edge. So clean, so deliberate. This wasn't spur of the moment. This was planned, approved, printed. She kept smiling, didn't wait for agreement, just tapped her clipboard again and said, "We'll handle everything, you just relax." He didn't blink, didn't breathe deep, didn't protest, just took out the flyer again, unfolded it, looked at the name one more time, Zone D, then folded it once more, and walked back inside. Maybe you've felt it too, when something is taken like it never belonged to you. You keep quiet, measure each move, but deep down, you're already planning your reply. If this story struck something in you, stay close. There's more ahead. Wednesday morning, no sound but the pump, steady, low, almost like breathing. The pool was empty now, bone dry. At the edge of the fence, a new wooden sign swung in the breeze. Out of service, pending structural maintenance. Simple font, black on pale cedar, not aggressive, not official looking, but enough to pause a neighbor, enough to be true. Graham leaned the ladder against the deep end wall. He climbed, careful, one step at a time. In his left hand, just a rag. No tools, no clipboard, no drama. At the top, he crouched, ran the cloth across the pool's inner ledge. Dust peeled away, slow and gritty. Then, under the morning sun, the letters appeared. Private property, EST, 1978. He stopped, one hand still pressed to the stone. The other held the cloth frozen in place. His eyes didn't move, but his throat shifted, just once. That line had been there longer than most houses on this block. Older than the HOA. Older than Lynette's career in community oversight. Built the year his father signed off the final blueprints. Poured the concrete himself. Had a stroke 3 weeks later. Right at the edge Graham now knelt on. No one ever talked about that. But the ledge remembered. A gust came through the yard, blew dust across the pool. A single leaf fluttered down. Landed dead center on the word private, then slid off, clean. Graham stood, took a photo, just one, angle, light, timestamp, then stepped down. He didn't send an email, didn't call the board, just printed the photo, pinned it behind the new sign, inside a plastic sleeve. By noon, 3 neighbors had passed by, 2 slowed, 1 took a picture, no one asked questions. But by evening, word was out. There's something legal about that pool. Lynette didn't come by that day. Too busy, probably, planning catering, booking the DJ, finalizing RSVPs. She never asked why the water was gone, never asked what the sign meant, which was perfect, because Graham wasn't trying to stop her. He was letting her climb higher. He watched the leaf settle under the fence, bent down, picked it up, then went inside. The door clicked shut behind him. Friday night. A ping lit up the group chat. Reminder, poolside event still on, all tickets sold. See you there. No names, no permission, just a declaration. By sunrise, Graham was already outside. He moved a single wooden chair into the pathway, opened the back gate, then waited. At exactly 8:30, the truck pulled up. Plain white, marked structural services. 2 men stepped out, tool belts, clipboards, hard hats. "We're here for the pool integrity inspection," one of them said. Graham nodded. Right on time. They entered, no fanfare, just measured steps, quiet conversation, and a soft scraping as they tapped the concrete. Neighbors glanced over fences, sprinklers clicked. No one said much. Until Lynette arrived. She stormed in like she owned the sky. Blazer, heels, phone already recording. "What the hell is going on?" No one answered. She crossed the yard, saw the tools, saw the tape line drawn across the deep end. "You can't just cancel a public event. People paid for this." Graham didn't look at her. He looked at the crack near the 3rd step, running wider than it had 3 months ago. She got louder, closer. "You think you can shut this down because you don't like me? You're petty, Graham. Vindictive." 4 neighbors were watching. One held a hose, paused midair. Another, phone raised but not obvious. Graham finally moved, reached into the folder by the chair, pulled out a printed email, held it toward her. She didn't take it, so he read it, calm, measured. Request for inspection submitted June 12th, confirmed by HOA board, CC'd to entire list. He flipped to the next page. Liability waiver not signed, event use not approved, condition unsafe. Lynette's voice cracked. "You planned this." He looked at her for the first time, just one line. "I didn't cancel anything. I just didn't lie about the ground people would be standing on." The technician stepped closer. "Ma'am, for safety, we need you off-site while we complete the assessment." She stared, shook her head, then threw her arms up and walked off, muttering into her phone. Behind her, one neighbor nodded at Graham. Another followed with a slow, subtle thumbs up. He didn't react, just sat down in the wooden chair and waited. Sunday morning, community meeting, folded chairs, cheap coffee, stale donuts. Lynette stood, didn't wait her turn. Her hand slammed the table. "He sabotaged a community event. I motioned to revoke his membership benefits immediately." Silence. No one moved. Even the HOA secretary stopped typing. Graham didn't speak. Then, Mr. Rick leaned forward. Oldest resident. Fought in 2 wars. Didn't talk much. He placed his phone on the table. Pressed play. Lynette's voice filled the room. "Everybody wants this party. Don't worry about who technically owns the pool." 2 weeks old, clear as glass. Lynette blinked, mouth parted. Nothing came out. Someone coughed. Awkward, long. The HOA president glanced around, then slowly turned to Graham. He reached into his folder, pulled out a worn, folded document, set it down, unfolded it with care. HOA Charter, revised 2019, signed by Lynette Crowley. His finger tapped once. Section 14.7. All events must receive written consent from the property owner. No yelling, no accusation, just fact. The secretary read it, then nodded. One small line in the minutes. Violation confirmed. Graham still hadn't looked at her. He just waited. Lynette tried. "That rule isn't enforced anymore." Rick interrupted. "You wrote it." Another cough. This time, laughter tried to hide inside it. Someone whispered, "Wow." Graham finally spoke. Quiet. But everyone heard it. "I don't need anyone to take my side. I just need you to remember what you heard and who said it." That was it. No attack, no moral speech, just a mirror held steady. Lynette sat down. Slow. Like gravity had increased. Outside, someone passed the window, paused, then kept walking. The file still sat open, corner stained with old coffee, signed in pen, ink slightly faded, but real, binding. The paper they'd forgotten was the one that broke her. 3 days later, the pool remained empty. No water, no apology. Graham stepped out just after noon, same jacket, same boots. He held the wooden sign in one hand. Private property, faded letters, corner warped from time. He didn't replace it, just added a 3rd screw, lower left. Pressed it in, tight, precise. One more than before, enough to hold it, for good. The air was still, dry, no footsteps, no questions. Near the stone ledge, something caught the sun. A small metal hair clip, his mother's. It had been there all along, untouched. He knelt. Dusted the edge, didn't pick it up, didn't need to. No cars passed, no HOA messages, not even small talk at the mailbox. They saw the meeting, they heard the tape, they watched her fall without Graham ever raising his voice. He didn't sue, didn't post, didn't name names. He just made sure the sign stayed up, made sure it couldn't be peeled off again. The wind picked up, blew a single leaf across the cement floor of the drained pool. He looked at it, paused, then turned away. Walked back toward the house. He passed the board, the ledge, the clip. Didn't glance back. At the door, he didn't lock it, just pushed it shut. Quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't beg for peace, because it already has it. Some fights don't need a winner, they need a line redrawn. He redrew it, with one email, one screw, one law she helped write. No one knocked on his door after that, not once. Not everyone fights to win, some just want no one to touch what they've guarded too long. Sometimes all it takes is one screw, not louder voices, not sharper words, just a gesture that holds and does not move. People think silence means surrender, but silence has rooms. Some are for grief, some are for memory, and some are for waiting. The pool stayed empty, but the sign stood still, not shiny, not new, just anchored. Truth doesn't always arrive with sirens. Sometimes it walks in through the back gate, right on time. There was no victory lap, no public statement, just a man wiping dust from an old plaque, as if to say, this still means something, to someone. And maybe that's enough, not to punish, but to remind. Things that are truly ours rarely need defending. They only need someone who knows when to speak, and when to let the dust settle. The older you get, the more you understand. Quiet doesn't mean weak. It means you already chose your ground, and you're not leaving. There are fights that end loud, but the ones that stay with us end with stillness.